right now, Thailand is trying to push for the EU FTA to be finalized by the end of this year. So as the representative of the EU-ASEAN Business Council, how much hope do you have for this FTA to be finalized?
Well, I think my personal view, and I'm based in Brussels, so I have the view of the Brussels policymakers, the European Commission also, is that, and indeed the view of the Council, is that this FTA will be finalised at some point. Most likely early in the new year, 2027. I know Thai policymakers are hoping that 2026. That's probably a little bit ambitious in terms of some of the issues that remain to be resolved. But we're quite confident, in fact bordering on very optimistic, that the FTA will be concluded, the text will be concluded, if not this year, early in the 2027 year.
From your perspective, how close do you think we are in terms of trying to finalize that deal?
Yeah. Well, 15 of the 24 chapters have been closed. The text has been agreed between the respective negotiators from the Department of Trade Negotiation here in Thailand and DG Trade and the Commission. So that's 15 of the 24. As always, the easier issues are resolved first. So what remains are, probably a little bit more difficult technically to resolve. Areas around government procurement, intellectual property, energy and agricultural access for Thai exports to Europe, particularly given the high health and safety standards that Europe applies. But we're confident from talking to the European policymakers and indeed the Thai ones that progress is being made on all of those. The 10th round of negotiations will take place in Thailand, I'm not sure if it's Bangkok, in September. Yep. Some people are saying that may be the final formal round. If another round is needed, so be it. The main thing that we at the Council would like is not so much speed, but substance. We want a substantive, high-quality trade agreement with issues resolved and predictability around standards, adoption of international standards by Thailand. And similarly, we would hope that the Thai demands would be resolved as well on the European side. So we don't want speed, we would prefer it to be a substantive agreement. But to reiterate, we do believe a deal will be done, the text will be concluded, and then it enters into two different ratification processes. A rather complex one in Europe that can take some time, and the Thai parliamentary process is a bit more simple relative to the European one. But we're confident that the text will be agreed next year. As to when it's implemented, that will depend on the two ratification processes.
How important is this FTA in shaping Thailand's competitiveness and attractiveness among European companies?
It's very important. I think Thailand's regulatory environment is at times a bit, maybe not as investor-friendly as some of your competitors and neighbours in the region. Some of that is for good reason historically. Some of the regulatory practices and regulations and laws probably need to be reformed. The Foreign Business Act is often mentioned by European services industries in particular as not conducive to further investment in Thailand. So we do believe in the area of competitiveness. An FTA will be part of policy initiatives by the Thai government to enhance Thai competitiveness. Anything that streamlines trade and business is in the end, supporting competitiveness in Thailand.
It's interesting that you mentioned that Thailand is not really a conducive environment for investment. Can you help us elaborate on this aspect for us?
Yeah, there are a number of aspects to that. I suppose if we start with the positive, the IMD University in Lausanne in Switzerland recently produced its latest competitiveness index, and Thailand went from number 30 to number 26 in the countries covered by that index. Only two other ASEAN countries, Singapore and Malaysia, are ahead of Thailand in that index. Singapore is the world's most competitive country, according to this index. Malaysia is number 15. Interestingly, Vietnam, your near neighbour, is behind you in the index. Whether that remains the case or not, of course, we shall see. Your Minister of Finance, Minister Ekniti, has indicated a desire for Thailand to rise into the top 20 in the foreseeable future, probably by 2030, and we see that as very possible. In terms of the challenges, as I mentioned, specific legislation, the Foreign Business Act, but there are other, there are apparently 7,600 ministerial regulations in place in Thailand. Many of them are redundant, are out of date, are inconsistent with each other, and need to be rescinded or modernized. So in terms of competitiveness, trade facilitation practices, customs practices, digitization of import, export, all of those kind of things cumulatively. And we sometimes call them non-tariff measures, non-tariff barriers. They're not tariffs obstructing market access as such, but they are in totality not conducive to driving trade in both directions, but particularly imports and further investment by European companies.
If the EU FTA is finalized by the end of this year, which sector do you think will benefit the most from the FTA?
Well, if I could start by saying, the Thai agricultural sector, the food exporters, they're not typically members of our council because they're Thai businesses, but of course our companies do business with them. So I believe up to a third of your GDP is dependent on agriculture, and Thai food exporters, particularly fish and poultry, to Europe, I think the market access that they will get will be enhanced. They have market access now, but under significant restrictions in terms of tariffs and sometimes quotas, depending on the product. I think that will be a benefit for Thai industry. In terms of European businesses coming here, there's a whole range of sectors that are looking forward to investing more, including life sciences, financial services, low carbon manufacturing, companies involved in sustainable packaging and the circular economy. Europe is a leader, I suppose, in green industry, if I could call it that, and sustainability practices. So to the extent that those companies can bring those skills and that experience here, it will help Thailand's digital and green transitions, as well as bilateral trade in both directions.
And with the progress of the EU FTA at the moment, how optimistic does it look for European businesses who are interested in investing in Thailand?
Very optimistic. I think, subject to what the comments I made earlier about maybe refining and streamlining trade facilitation practices and licensing and permitting, the Foreign Business Act, those kind of issues. European businesses have long been invested in Thailand. Some of our members have been here 150 years, and it is the second largest economy. It has an industrial ecosystem that not many ASEAN countries can match. So in that sense, it's easier for European business to build on what they already have here than to start up in a greenfield in another member state that may not have the same sophisticated ecosystem. So I would say there's a lot of optimism in European businesses. The number of companies we have here this week is testament to the interest in Thailand as a trade and investment destination. And I wouldn't pick out any one sector, but I've named a few that are certainly enthusiastic about when the FTA is concluded.